So you remember this family, right? That absolute chaos machine called Malcolm in the Middle from the early 2000s, where Hal and Lois are always one bad decision away from losing it while trying to control their four wild boys? One of the funniest sitcoms ever. But did you ever stop and wonder how the heck they were actually paying for their so-called life? Or if it was even a life worth paying for? Today we're cracking open their finances to see what was really going on behind all the screaming and broken windows. The quick answer? Hal and Lois actually made a decent lower middle class paycheck for the early 2000s, around $75,000 combined a year. That's the kind of money that should have kept them comfortable, but instead they lived in non-stop, soul-crushing debt. They weren't flat-out poor on paper. They were broke because of crazy expenses, terrible choices, and 4 kids who acted like tiny hurricanes that cost real money. Hal had that mid-level corporate systems manager job at some boring company that always looked 2 days from shutting down. Back then, it paid a solid $55,000 or so, the kind of salary where you could handle a small house and still breathe. But here's the hilarious part. The show reveals he hadn't shown up on a single Friday in 15 years. The guy just ditched work for theme parks or racetracks and still got full pay. Legend behavior. Lois was grinding hard as a clerk who fought her way up to assistant manager at Lucky Aid, that madhouse drugstore. Long shifts, night work, all the retail nightmares for maybe $20,000 a year. Together they brought home enough that a normal family in a sketchy neighborhood should have been totally fine. But nope, the boys showed up and turned everything into a financial comedy show. The series straight up shows them drowning in debt the whole time, with one episode mentioning they were $26,000 in the hole. Another time they finally check their budget and Malcolm does the math. They're losing money every single month even when they try to live like broke monks. Flashbacks are brutal too. Before the kids, Hal and Lois had a clean house and a decent car. Then Francis, Reese, Malcolm, and Dewey arrived like 4 little wrecking crews and it all went downhill fast. The money just vanished everywhere. Those boys destroyed the house on repeat broken windows, smashed furniture, angry neighbors. They probably sent the local window repair guy's kids to college. Medical bills were a nightmare too, because this was America before easy healthcare fixes. And hyper boys treat the emergency room like an amusement park. One time, they had to kill their whole summer vacation just to cover stitches for Malcolm. Then Francis got shipped off to that fancy private military school. Even with any help, it was a budget destroyer that probably maxed out their cards. And Hal? Oh man. Hal was a walking midlife crisis with a wallet. The guy had zero chill. One week he's blowing cash on a full professional speed-walking outfit like he's training for the Olympics. Next, he's building a giant killer robot or buying a luxury jacuzzi they couldn't afford. Remember that tiny lottery win? Dude immediately rented a steamroller just to smash stuff for fun. Classic Hal. Then there's the $10,000 disaster. Malcolm earns a $10,000 college grant check. Hal and Lois grab it, convince themselves they'll pay it back later, and waste most of it on a ridiculous giant dollhouse that burns down almost right away. Smooth move, parents. The best punchline, though, comes in season 2. A medical thing forces Hal and Lois to stop having sex for 1 whole week. Suddenly, they turn into super organized machines. They fix the house, clean the yard, sort their papers, and Lois finds out the government actually owes them thousands in back taxes because they finally filed everything on time. The moment they jump back into bed, boom, the house turns right back into a chaotic, bankrupt mess. That's what makes the show secretly brilliant about money. Hal and Lois nailed that early 2000s trap. Good enough income on paper, but insane real-world costs like healthcare and school, zero savings habits, and total kid chaos kept them 1 bad week from total disaster. And just to put it in today's dollars, because everything feels more painful now, that $75,000 household income back then would be like making around $136,000 a year in 2026. Hal's $55,000 salary, that's over $95,000 today. Their $26,000 debt, roughly $47,000 in modern money. Even Malcolm's $10,000 grant would equal about $17,000 now. Crazy how inflation makes those old numbers hit different. By the end of the series, After all the madness, loans for Malcolm's college, and another baby on the way, the family still had basically nothing in their hands. We're talking maybe a few $100 at best after scraping together tuition money, probably still sitting on some debt and riding that classic Wilkerson wave of one paycheck from total collapse. The boys grew up, but the financial chaos? That never really left. And somehow, we still couldn't stop watching.